Hey guys, so we're back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's carry on where we left off. We're here in Mr. Natsume's apartment. Or is it his library? His office, perhaps? Definitely his man cave. And look what we found. The great detective Herlock Sholmes himself. Of course, we've got a few questions we need to ask him, particularly involving how he came to the conclusion that Mr. Natsume was the one responsible for stabbing the woman in the back. For now, though, let's ask him some miscellaneous questions, such as what he thinks of Mr. Garadeb, the landlord, whose head is shaped like a crescent moon. Tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man just upstairs. Took all my energy to climb them. They should really install some kind of dumbwaiter for dumb people like me.
It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services.
And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is, service, just regular service. I didn't think it was that funny. I mean, I know I'm a punny guy, but still. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid.
Really?
Interesting. I hope that's not what you're calling Iris Wilson, because she is writing your stories and putting the kind of color in them that only befits your adventures.
Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer.
Is that the name of the blue book, or just one of the sections of it? And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? What? You know English isn't my first language, right? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. Oh, so you're below middle class? Oh, Detective Sholmes. Sorry to hear that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family.
Goodness, how extraordinary.
As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. So this guy is straddling the divide between lower and middle class, is he? I had no idea. Of course, it looks like the maid is the one in control. She was basically manipulating Mr. Garadeb into answering what she wanted him to, by spilling tea whenever he was going against the script, so to speak. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Great stimulation with the maid? Oh no, this isn't that kind of video, Detective Sholmes. Specifically, in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb. Oh, here we go. I know, I was waiting to do this last episode, but I figured, you know what, we need to invest quite a bit of time into these great deductions. So we're better off starting afresh here. Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. He's using a lot of complicated words. He can't just get straight to the point. The dingy room. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. That's how I came to the conclusion that he is guilty.
Is it really? Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one.
But sooner or later, as I said. So technically, I'm not wrong. You know, you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain, so to speak, as well.
I don't believe that's the issue here.
About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes, you probably feel right at home, do you? Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? What happened to it? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. It's just looking into a brick wall. And I'm not talking about your neighbor's brick wall. I mean, the brick wall is literally taken over the window. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Is it because of what I said last episode? How I watched it on a game show? The true answer? I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. I knew it! I can't believe that's a thing. Window tax? What is that? Then again, you know, 100 years from now, I'm pretty sure society will look back on these days going, what the hell was humanity thinking back then?
Surely, Not a tax on windows.
Precisely that. How did you know? Was it in that fancy dandy book of yours?
Oh my goodness!
Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere. In an effort to curry favour with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money.
Right, so
instead of donations back then, they willingly paid tax. Nowadays, everyone's trying to avoid tax and donate hundreds and millions to political parties that they really want in power.
how awful and unjust. Forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light.
Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging. Otherwise, he's spent it all on accumulating all these books, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price.
Because the room is so awful, I should think.
Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. He probably prefers his prison cell, although that doesn't look so good either. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation.
Oh?
Maybe it's just so far away from, the CBD, business district. Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention.
Really? Okay.
Well, sorry, for a guy who likes to solve puzzles, I don't seem to buy it. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Okay, well that wraps that up. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. I suppose it's nice to see you again.
Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law?
You remembered that, did you?
Impressive. It was in his mind palace. Probably in the basement, but it's still there. Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it?
Yeah, not bad. You're doing better than the maid upstairs. I'm not sure.
Not sure? On what grounds?
Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday, and he's dead now, so, morale's low and at the Naruhodo offices in law.
Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly too.
The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? True. I suppose our first proper court case after we'd studied for the bar involved a client who was pretty freaking shady and most likely guilty.
Yes, trust.
At least with Matt on guard, we represented him well into the second game of the Ace Attorney trilogy. Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? I know you said he'll stab someone sooner or later, but today's not sooner, right?
My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea.
Oh, but don't tell me they... Are you going to try weasel your way out of this by saying, well, I didn't ask them to arrest him, I just pointed the finger in his direction? I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate?
Ah, yes. That was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them.
Well, at least you didn't just pack them in a bag and wander off back to your house in 221B Baker Street. Oh, I see.
Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room. And there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say.
Huh.
Ah, and one more thing.
Oh? What is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us!
Stop fangirling, Susato. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something.
Mr. Garadeb is? Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he?
Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case.
I'm telling you, we're going to need to examine that fallen candle in the room upstairs. I can feel it in my bones.
Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence.
No, you're right, and I don't really feel like accumulating all the evidence tomorrow at court again. You know, I would prefer to at least have a head start on our defense. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garadeb's secret.
Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thank you, Detective Sholmes. Let's head on upstairs. Can you please carry me? A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Has he? Why, yes he has. Okay. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes. We're heading upstairs. You don't want to do the dance?
Yes, so true. To be or not to be? That is indeed the question, Mr. Naruhodo.
Okay. To be or not to be brushed off, that is the question. And the answer is all too clear. I really like the mini rivalry we have with Mr. Sholmes.
Let's leave Mr. Sholmes in peace, shall we?
But, you know, it takes two to tango, Susato. I'm not doing this dance on myself. The 19th of February. It's still the same day. Mr. Garadeb's room. I was gonna say he's nowhere to be found, but he's right here.
Ah, you paragon. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there?
Mr. Herlock Sholmes?
Ah, yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid.
Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there, elementary. My dear Garadeb.
Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. Here we go. Now then, why don't you tell me what— Oh, shit! Oh, for the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're bonny well doing?
I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir.
Yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you'd be so kind.
Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for your assistance.
Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out.
Sure. I guess that's how things need to be, according to Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Garadeb is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, you know, because it's a game, perhaps we should do some digging. Look who's just made an appearance. Don't jump! Don't jump, Herlock! What's he doing over there? Susato's just like,
Mr. Sholmes?
Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious, when did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir. At your service.
Whatever were you doing by the window?
I'm given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. Namely, a window. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well,
keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering.
And one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh? Me?
I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind.
Look, as long as you don't slap handcuffs on me, once all is said and done, I'll be grateful. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Is it really so soon? I suppose it is.
Do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo?
I think so.
There's just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark.
Oh, well, I'm definitely not going to need to get involved then, if that's the timeline we're working on. Maybe we should just get Iris to come on down. Oh boy, here we go. Mr. Garadeb, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I have been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. Really? And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you.
Mr. Naruhodo, look! He's sweating. The old man's
broken out in a cold sweat. It's gonna cool his tea down if he's not careful. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. For real this time. How? How could you possibly? How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. What? And I know only too well that wild beasts are not so easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. There we go, buckle up, guys! It's the great deduction time! Alright, topic 1. Nature of the beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Okay, we did notice those cracked plates and whatnot. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Okay, he's nervous about that. We're on the right track here. For a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garadeb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Okay, obviously wrong. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts, king of the jungle. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, no wonder he's so perplexed. What? Oh, there we are. I knew it. I knew he was hiding something on that side of his face. Looked like there was a handprint or something, like he got slapped. Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence.
Well,
yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Uh-oh. You know something?
Me?
I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction.
It is?
Your dress pocket gives us handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garadeb, at Batty's Circus. A travelling show currently is sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. So you admit you had a lion then, you just didn't sell it. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Just like that, there you go. A rampaging Asiatic lion from India. Aftermath. Now, Mr. Garadeb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Okay. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. No, it'll be that slap mark on his face. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man! I simply... But what we must now ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. Well, and we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. That's why you only have one maid, and so you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last, unimaginable attack. I think I can see what we're referring to when it came to the beast. It was not the lion, but that picture behind it.
Unimaginable?
The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken.
Oh, dearie me.
What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wondering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it, or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact.
Whatever do you mean? I truly am befuddled.
Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There is only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Once, long ago, I promise. Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. Okay. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Okay. Great. Mr. Garadeb's mouth is just hanging open. Ah, gosh! What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garadeb. I'm afraid I didn't notice.
My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too. Yeah, well, he was spilling saliva from his agape mouth.
Oh.
Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? Again. Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed. It is the only explanation for the facts. The only explanation? Are you serious? The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. Well, yeah, I know this is an Ace Attorney game, but for goodness sake, even this is out there. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well?
But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garadeb and his maid would have been hurt. Or worse, expelled.
Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said that they sold the lion to the circus.
What about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I have ever heard of a lion that drinks tea.
Ah, my dear Miss Susato, you clearly haven't met these Indian lions. They love their Earl Grey. It occurs to me with some regularity that, irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Now, it took a while for this particular lion from India to convert from Dilma to Earl Grey, but I can assure you it did happen.
Oh, what a glorious notion. Hey, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm feeling like tea now.
No, Susato, we don't have time.
Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again.
I had a feeling that was coming.
A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. Unlike Iris Wilson's, you can do it.
Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo.
We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case, but hey, we can be a good citizen. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. True.
Let us start again. From the beginning of Sherlock Holmes's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Alright, time to step in with a course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. A rampaging Asiatic lion?
It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take?
He looked over there.
Ah, for a man with a miniature breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Oi! Your furtive glance, Mr. Garadeb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue.
Okay. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. I did.
No, but if you observe Mr. Garadeb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room.
Yes. Something with a very fierce nature.
But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. Surely that's preposterous.
So what was it then?
We must follow Mr. Garadeb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer.
What really caused the damage in this room? There we are, we've got something. Let's examine it before we reveal what it is. What's this photograph? Look at this photograph. Does it make you laugh?
It appears to be from Mr. Garadeb's wedding.
Oh, are we calling the beast his ex-wife?
He looks very happy, doesn't he?
He does, but you can't make out his bride.
No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face.
Wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. Well, we've got the newlywed bride. I suppose we can further examine this.
The glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all.
But no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form.
I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo. Please.
Yes, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Wait, we're still talking about beasts, right? Not someone you'd want to upset, that's for sure.
Oh look, have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it?
Yes, that is an unusual design.
It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower.
There's Mr. Garadeb himself.
This must have been when Mr. Garadeb was still in the army.
He seems to be carrying his rather stout bride effortlessly and beaming a smile at the same time.
I suppose he was very strong in his younger years.
Hard to imagine now, he's as thin as a rake. Alright, well, shall we present the newlywed bride? She's responsible for running rampant in here?
Take that!
There we are. Okay. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride.
Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. She's from India, though, right? She has to be. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garadeb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Okay, well, thanks for shutting me out. Indeed. Surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast.
Now I'm starting to think, is the woman who got stabbed Mr. Garadeb's ex-wife? I'm guessing it's his ex-wife if she's not living here? We do know that the woman who got stabbed was a plump woman as well. Honored might be stretching a point.
Too late. The fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Garadeb.
Oh! Ah, she slapped him.
The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence, although the roar has obviously nothing to do with it.
Well,
Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam,
me?
I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction.
It is.
Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts.
The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself.
Well, I don't know about fragile.
Oh, dear. Anyway, Mr. Shems is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garadeb anywhere.
But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garadeb's wife could be. Well, well, what do we have here? A wedding ring. She's wearing a very large ring, look.
Oh yes, sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments.
You just imagine during the middle of this dance of deduction, I'm suddenly squatting down, crab walking towards her, just to look at her palms underneath the... well, not her palms, sorry, her fingers beneath the tray.
And it's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring.
Looks like it's on there for life, too. Can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size.
That's something to think of, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Do you know Mr. Garadeb's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? It was a large sunflower design as well.
Really? You have a great memory for these things, even though it just happened like 20 seconds ago. I thought you were the one who doesn't miss much, Mr. Naruhodo. You and your wonderful observation skills. A large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it? Maybe, his ex-wife gave the ring back and then he gave it to Joan, the maid.
Take that!
Let's present the wedding ring. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts.
Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garadeb's bride in this photographic print.
I don't know. I don't know if they're the same person. I mean, we can't identify the bride. Her face is intentionally obscured. Someone obviously didn't like her much. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid.
No.
Well, we're going with it.
You are Mr. Garadeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garadeb herself, sorry.
Oh my word!
Done. At least the first part.
Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmise, this is the wife, yes. My Joan, the wife. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a bally corker back. Oh, okay, I deserve that one, baby. I think I did. It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct?
So this is all optics, is it?
It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though, in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are folly.
You mean Mr. Garadeb has his wife work as his maid?
Precisely.
Am I right, Mr. Garrett? It's true. It's all true, I tell you. Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. All right, done. The raging wife of Mr. Garadeb. Solved. Next up. Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. Don't tell me Mrs. Garadeb was feeling hungry that night. Now, Mr. Garadeb. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Ugh. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garadeb's wife a beast, even though, we've shifted up the accusation that it's an Indian lion.
Yes, as a woman, it feels rather uncomfortable.
But Mrs. Garadeb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? I don't think they're in a very happy marriage right now.
Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then.
According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garadeb's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? Well, there we are, thank God for 3D. Slapped cheek. Oh my, look at that bright red mark.
Gosh, that's quite something. And clearly made by somebody's hand.
Yes, Mr. Garadeb has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard. What kind of hand is that?
I've never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing?
Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say. And I don't think he slapped himself. Present. There you are, Mr. Sholmes. Done and corrected. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. Although I'm pointing in the completely opposite direction. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madame Joan Garadeb. Oh, well, you lightly slapped your own cheek there. Obviously, that's not going to leave a mark.
Well, yes.
You have been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Ah, well, it's fully revealed now. You don't have to sit sideways facing us anymore. How the blazes? How did you work that out, man? God, he's got a really narrow head. I'm surprised when he got slapped in the cheek, it didn't pancake completely. Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. Until now. To keep your other side from view. Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garadeb to fly into a rage. Normally she'd just pour tea all over your lap, but this particular instance required her to slap you silly. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. No, not the bills.
Didn't Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for lion fodder?
Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed, so of course he has to change the facts to suit his story. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garadeb's wife.
Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing.
Yeah, well, I haven't been calling her a beast, have I? Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. Did you see that? One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. I wouldn't call it a perfect hand mark, though. It looks deformed.
Yes, why would a woman who want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder?
Well, why do you do Susato takedowns on me, okay? Well, it's for the same reason. I'd love to know the answer to that question. Well, I didn't realize there were broken plates all the way over here, but clearly it has to be this bookmark with a lip mark on it. Let's examine it real quick.
Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. Mr. Garadeb is clearly an avid reader.
I don't know how Sherlock Sholmes missed this blatant clue as to why Mr. Garrideb's wife would want to slap him in the face. Oh, wait a minute. It's even facing his direction. I don't think this is a bookmark.
Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary.
And look next to the signature here.
Lip marks, made with lipstick.
Yes, I hope it's lipstick and not blood.
Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture.
It would be if he wasn't already taken. Don't get any ideas, Susato-san.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
So this bookmark is actually a love note then. Love note. I've learned we should probably examine all the clues before we present them, just in case they change like this. Here we are. Well, what do you have to say about that? Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Sounds definitely different when I say it. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. Oh! Damn. She left another mark. But I don't know the bally woman. You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right. That's what I've been saying. Oh!
A likely story.
Well, now we can see why she's constantly torturing her husband. Now, listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at the second-hand place. That note must already have been in there. So, the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right, that's what I've been saying!
A likely story.
For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name! It's written to James! My name, in case you'd forgotten, is John!
A likely story. Your name's been James this entire time. You've lied to me since we engaged in holy matrimony.
Are you questioning my name now? Damn. And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with the most ferocious bite. Ugh. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack.
Unimaginable?
Yeah. The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken.
Oh, dearie me.
What could have caused such a destructive outburst?
Ah.
This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Although she was the one who revealed the truth last time by looking at the bookmark, your wondering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. The pile of cakes. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes.
But surely Mr. Garrideb didn't eat the carpet?
No, of course not. She's a beast, but I don't think she's that ferocious. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper.
No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Mrs. Garrideb's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer.
Alright, let's see what we can see.
Yes.
Okay, we've got the Tower of Cakes, which is wrong. We've got a circus handbill, candlestick. I mean, there is a candlestick on the floor. Let's start with the candlestick first.
This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it?
The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. I wonder, maybe it fell to the ground and burned the carpet, so she ripped out a patch? It looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over.
Oh dear, that'd be dangerous.
Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing.
Yes, I didn't notice that before.
Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the three missing from its holder? Well, we can look at the carpet. We might as well. The candles atop it. The carpet here has been ripped to shreds.
Yes, and according to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, the tears match those made by an Indian lion's teeth exactly.
Oh, look here. Clearly not teeth.
What is it?
If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks.
Oh yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all.
Let's rethink this with that in mind. We need only look at the candles. Here we are. She burned a patch. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Not these ones, mind you, the one on the floor. Most illuminating, my dear fellow. And, of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Right there. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Yeah, just like you were clearly listening to our private conversation where Susato posited that very theory. Scorch marks. It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mrs. Garadeb's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face. She slapped him so hard the wind blew and knocked the candle off, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused the candle to fall from the holder. And shattered all the pottery as well, I guess. Damn. She's one tough cookie. And in seconds, the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, For the most ferocious beast in the world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Adequately put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. You set fire to the place, you pyromaniacs. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Well, what say you? Are you going to do a dramatic collapse to the floor? Mr. Sholmes, sir. I salute you! Oh, I was right. He is going to do a dramatic collapse, but not to the floor. Carpet scorched by a small fire. Well, she can at least carry him over the threshold now. Deduction complete. Elementary.